Before the video starts, I do just want to apologise for not uploading last week. I don't really know what happened, but I guess September just wasn't my month. But it's over now. It's October now, and hopefully I'm going to be back on those weekly uploads. Hi, how you doing? I've talked about a variety of subjects on this channel, yet somehow I still haven't made a video on Cutie Marks. Well, that changes now, because in today's video I'm going to be talking about Cutie Marks and some of the problems and ethical questions they raise. This is one of those videos that's kind of just me voicing thoughts, basically a scripted ramble. It isn't intended to be a critique of Cutie Marks and how they work, so with that in mind and with that established, let's get on to the video. One of the core rules of Cutie Marks in Equestria is that they represent your special talent, your unique calling in life. That sounds nice at first, but when you think about it, it's basically destiny carved into your skin. You don't really get a choice. Once your Cutie Mark appears, that's it, your path is locked in. What does this mean for ponies that are forced to spend their lives doing whatever the mark shows? Take some pony like Rarity. She gets 3 gems for her Cutie Mark, and sure, that lines up with her sense of beauty and generosity. But what if, say, she decided she wants to be a baker instead? Would the Cutie Mark reject her? Would she just be a terrible baker forever? Because in that situation, your destiny could end up feeling more like a prison. And then you've got the ponies with really bizarre or oddly specific marks, like some background ponies have Cutie Marks that are literally kitchen utensils or random objects that don't exactly scream life calling. Are you really destined to be the spoon guy forever? It's hard not to imagine there are ponies out there who looked at their mark and just hated it. Too bad though, it's stamped on you for life. The show never really tells us whether ponies can push back against their marks or redefine them. Twilight gets wings and Starlight rewrites time itself. When it comes to the Cutie Mark system, we're led to believe every pony's just fine with their life path being decided for them at age 10. It's almost kind of dystopian, linking to that age-old argument philosophers discuss today about free will. Is everything predetermined and all that? If Cutie Marks are supposed to be this magical answer to the question of who am I, then the system is seriously flawed. Because for a lot of ponies, realistically, Cutie Marks would just give them confusion. The Cutie Mark Crusaders are the obvious case. These 3 spend seasons spiraling into existential dread because they don't have marks yet. And the show makes it clear this is a social problem. Blank flanks get bullied. Being the last kid in your class without a mark is basically the pony version of not hitting puberty when everyone else has. It's embarrassing and it's isolating. It puts this insane pressure on foals to figure themselves out when they're really young, like, again, 10 for human age. Then you've got ponies who do get the marks but end up resenting them. Trouble Shoes is the textbook example. His giant horseshoe Cutie Mark convinced him he was cursed with bad luck when really it just meant slapstick comedy. He spends his whole life miserable because the system gave him his permanent brand without any instruction. In that specific situation, it's not fulfillment, it gave him a lifetime of second guessing himself. And even when a pony understands their mark, it can still box them in. If your Cutie Mark is tied to music, people expect you to be a musician. If it's apples, you're expected to be a farmer. It's like the moment that picture appears on your flank, society files you into a category, and if you ever want to change lanes, good luck convincing anyone that you can. The show plays this as totally normal as well. Adults treat Cutie Marks as a cause for celebration, not realizing how much baggage comes with them. Imagine if in our world you've got a permanent tattoo in middle school that told everyone your job for life. Some kids would get doctor, some would get chef, and some unlucky kid would wake up with a tattoo of a garbage bin, and everyone would just nod and say, yes, that's your passion. So while Cutie Marks are framed as a symbol of self-discovery, in practice they create this constant identity crisis. You either don't have one and panic, or you do have one and feel trapped, or you get one that makes no sense and spend years trying to interpret it. No matter how you slice it, the system's a mess. Going back to a point from a bit earlier, as well as being personal symbols, Cutie Marks end up being social labels. The second a pony gets one, every pony around them makes assumptions. And that creates a system where your value as a member of society is judged based on whatever icon appears to show up on your flank. Think about the Cutie Mark Crusaders, again. The bullying is a glimpse at how ponies actually rank each other. Blank flanks are treated like they're incomplete. They're less respected and they're less taken seriously. All because of a mark they haven't earned yet. That's institutional bias. Really, way more than just schoolyard stuff. Even when you do have a Cutie Mark, the kind you get matters. Some are flashy and broad like magic, flight or creativity. Others are less inspiring. If your mark is a cloud, people might see you as weather crew material. If it's something silly or mundane, you risk being written off as unimportant, even if you're just as talented as anyone else. It's not hard to imagine there's an unspoken class system in Equestria built around these symbols. Starlight Glimmer actually calls this out during her whole Equality Village phase. Now, she takes it way too far, ripping off Cutie Marks and declaring every pony the same. But the fact that her argument resonated at all shows that there's truth there. Cutie Marks do create inequality. They literally mark some ponies as special and others as ordinary. When your entire social identity is tied to a symbol on your body, anyone who can tamper with that symbol basically controls your life. The show doesn't really dwell on how much pressure that could put on a pony. Your entire sense of worth, your place in society, and your opportunities, all judged by a magical picture you didn't choose. If Cutie Marks were just about destiny or just about identity, that would already be complicated enough, but the system is also wildly inconsistent, which makes things even messier. Some marks are incredibly literal. Applejack's 3 apples clearly mean she's an apple farmer. Others are metaphorical or abstract. Pinkie Pie's balloons represent fun and parties, but going off the logic from Applejack's cutie mark, someone might guess that her talent was selling balloons, or more broadly, selling games and toys. No one would guess the exact mechanics from the symbol alone. Then there are marks that seem almost arbitrary. Background ponies have cutie marks that don't match anything we see them doing in the show. There's a pony with a horseshoe, another with a hammer, another with a spoon, and we never actually see what those talents mean. Are we supposed to assume that the show's world building just hand-waved these symbols into existence? Or are these ponies secretly performing their life purpose off-screen? Either way, it creates this weird cognitive dissonance. The system is supposedly absolute, but the rules don't hold up under scrutiny. Even within the main cast, there are contradictions. Twilight's magic talent is obvious, but how much does her cutie mark actually tell us? It's a starburst, vaguely magical, vaguely leadership related, vaguely friendship themed. It's not concrete at all. Then you have a mark like Applejack's, which is very concrete. She's an apple farmer. But outside of just the marks themselves, there's contradictions in how marks work in the show. A mark can appear, disappear, or be magically altered depending on what the story needs. Starlight Glimmer erases marks to create a dystopia. Twilight and her friends switch them as part of their character growth. The rules bend depending on the episode, which undermines the idea that cutie marks are supposed to be fixed, unchanging symbols of fate. I mean, there is literally a spell that switches cutie marks indefinitely until the spell is broken. So at the same time cutie marks are meant to provide clarity, they often create more questions than they answer. They claim to define a pony's life, but what they actually do is highlight inconsistencies, reveal arbitrary assignments, and raise all sorts of logistical problems about how this world is supposed to function. When you really look at it, cutie marks turn Equestria into a quietly dystopian world. Every pony's role is assigned for them before they even fully understand themselves, and their social identity is inseparable from that assignment. In a lot of ways, it mirrors classic dystopian and predeterminist stories. Take The Giver, for example, where citizens are assigned their careers and social functions by the elders, leaving little room for choice or self-expression. Or Brave New World, where people are literally conditioned from birth into rigid castes, with expectations set for them long before they're able to think critically about their lives. Even something like The Hunger Games fits the theme, where society channels individuals into specific roles, and deviation is punished. Equestria does the same thing, just softly in a kid-friendly way, sanitizing dystopianism and lack of free will for kids, apparently. The moment a cutie mark appears, a pony's job, talents, and social worth are predetermined, and the whole community treats it like gospel. The parallels go beyond just assignment of roles. In these dystopian stories, the system also pressures characters into conformity, discouraging experimentation or rebellion. Cutie marks do exactly that, but in a subtle, cheerful way. Ponies are celebrated for discovering their true talent, but the structure leaves little space for deviation. Want to try a different career or hobby? Too bad, society has already filled you into your mark. There's an illusion of choice, but we never really see it. We never see a pony that has a cutie mark and actively does something else with their life. And all we can assume from that is that you can't. The show rarely acknowledges the psychological impact this has on its characters. It gets even stranger when you compare it to the moral implications of dystopian fiction. In The Giver, people's destinies are justified as necessary for societal stability. In Brave New World, the conditioning ensures happiness at the cost of autonomy. In Equestria, cutie marks are framed as a personal milestone or a celebration of individuality, yet they function in almost the same way. They enforce conformity, limit free will, and define social hierarchies. The show never dramatizes this tension because it's a kids show, but it's there if you look closely. A system that masquerades as fun and whimsical, but subtly controls lives. Even the magical elements of cutie marks reinforce the dystopian vibe. The marks appear automatically, often without explanation, and although it's possible, they can't easily be changed or removed. Starlight Glimmer's erasure of marks and the creation of the Cutie Equality Society highlight just how powerful and manipulative this system can be. It's reminiscent of thought experiments in dystopian fiction. What happens when a society literally controls your identity? And how does that shape relationships, ambition, and self-worth? In Equestria, the answer is that every pony's path is largely predetermined, and the illusion of choice is just a comforting layer of glitter. In the end, Cutie Marks aren't just quirky symbols for a children's show. They're a social mechanism, a moral system, and a narrative tool rolled into one, with deep implications for free will and individuality. Framed through the lens of a dystopian fiction, Equestria suddenly feels like a happy authoritarian society where the illusion of freedom masks a pre-written destiny. A bright, cheery dystopia hidden in plain sight. So, what's the takeaway from all this? Cutie Marks might look cute and harmless, but when you dig into them, they reveal a world that's far more complicated and, honestly, a little dystopian than the show ever admits. They lock ponies in paths, create social hierarchies, mess with personal identity, and operate with rules that are inconsistent at best. And when you step back, it's easy to see the parallels to classic dystopian stories, where choice is limited, roles are assigned, and individuality is subtly erased. Yet somehow, it's all wrapped in sparkles, rainbows, and songs about friendship. Equestria sells the idea that discovering your cutie mark is a magical defining moment, when in reality, it's a system that predetermines lives and encourages conformity. It's absurd, but it also makes you wonder how many other magical parts of Equestria might hide similar cracks beneath the surface. At the end of the day, Cutie Marks are brilliant storytelling shorthand. They give each character a defining trait and make life in Ponyville feel magical and structured. But again, they're also a window into a world where free will is optional. Identity is assigned, and society subtly keeps every pony in line. In a way, I guess that's the real magic of Equestria. It can be bright, charming, and joyful on the surface, while quietly reflecting some surprisingly dark ideas about control, predestination, and the cost of conformity. So, next time you see a pony discovering their cutie mark, just remember, behind every sparkle and celebration, there's a little existential dread waiting on the flank, and somehow, we still find it adorable. And that's it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I apologise for missing last week. I don't plan on it happening next week, but seeing last week and a couple weeks before, I can't give any guarantee. I don't want to say we're definitely uploading next week, because if I don't, I'm going to look even worse, but I can almost guarantee I do not want to miss another week. Anywho, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, and while you're down there, consider subscribing if you haven't already to see more videos by me. If you want to support the channel even more, you could become a channel member. Thanks to the Red Ravioli, Creative Zone, and MyFumi for being monotonal members. And with that, till next week, thanks for watching, I've been Monodash, and I'll see you sometime soon.